Welcome to Mystery Chronicles, where we dive deep into some of the most intriguing and mysterious stories from around the world. Please like, comment, and subscribe. An unforgettable name etched in tragedy. Some names become etched in our minds, not because of great wins or discoveries, but as dark reminders of the worst things people can do. The name Junko Furuta is one of those names. It belongs to a 17-year-old Japanese high school student whose life was cut short in the late 1980s. Her story isn't just about a crime, it's a troubling tale that makes us ask tough questions about society's failures, the nature of evil, and the ongoing search for fairness. This case went beyond borders, becoming a worldwide symbol and a reason for important discussions. Remembering isn't about being overly dramatic. It's an act of keeping her memory alive and understanding why it still matters today. Its importance comes from how it affected many things: personal pain, problems with the system, and public debate. Let's look at the facts clearly, calmly, and with respect for the victim's dignity. A look into the life of Junko Furuta. Junko was a 17-year-old girl with regular hopes and dreams. She lived in Misato, Saitama Prefecture, with her parents and two brothers. She was a student at Yashio Minami, known for her bright and kind personality. She had recently gotten a part-time job and dreamed of life after graduation. Her daily life included classes, exams, friends, and plans for the future. She was a daughter, a sister, a friend, a regular life full of potential. That normalness makes the story even more chilling. On an ordinary day, November 25th, 1988, she was riding her bike home after her shift. Then her path crossed with a group of teenagers. The contrast between her innocence and what was to come highlights the random and senseless nature of the crime. Her world of family, school, and plans was replaced by an unimaginable reality. The kidnapping, a descent into darkness. It wasn't a fancy plan. She was knocked off her bike on purpose. Hiroshi Miyano, who was 17, was leading the group. Pretending to help her, they forced her into a nearby warehouse. There, under threat and fear, her nightmare began. They took her to a house in Adachi. It would be her prison for 44 days. Not an abandoned place, but a family home right in the neighborhood. The occasional presence of adults makes us wonder about what they knew if they were involved and why they didn't act. Forced to call her parents, she said she had run away and was safe with a friend. The family took back the missing person report, a cruel act that kept her from being rescued. The house became the center of it all. A stream of young people, many knew, some took part. A hidden horror right out in the open in an ordinary neighborhood. 44 days of captivity, held captive and subjected to relentless abuse. Let's talk plainly. It wasn't just one act. It was a continuous, escalating campaign of cruelty. There were 4 main captors and others who came and went. She tried to call the police at least twice. She was caught and punished. The parents knew something. They claimed to fear retaliation due to Yakuza ties. Their inaction sealed her fate, a moral and systemic failure. Constant terror, isolation, and being treated as less than human. On January 4th, 1989, after 44 days, she died from her injuries. She was 17 years old. They tried to hide the crime. They sealed a drum with concrete and abandoned it in Koto. A final act of dehumanization in a series of terrible acts. That concludes the story of those 44 days. The perpetrators, a profile of cruelty. 4 teenagers were responsible for the kidnapping, confinement, and death. Hiroshi Miyano, Joe Ogura, Shinji Minato, Yasushi Watanabe. Low-level connections to the Yakuza, a feeling of being untouchable and intimidating. They didn't act alone. Over 100 young people visited the house. Many were just watching. Others actively took part. A culture of silence and not caring. Cruelty for an audience. Not telling the police shows a broken moral compass. After getting rid of the body, Miyano and Ogura were arrested for a different crime. Hoping for a lighter sentence, one spoke up: kidnapping, torture, and murder. The confession led to the concrete-filled drum, March 29th, 1989. The horrible truth came out. A system under scrutiny, legal consequences. All four were arrested and charged. They were minors under the law back then. At first, it was juvenile court and anonymity. The brutality led to them being tried as adults. The country watched. July 1990, Miyano, 17 years old. There was public outrage. Ogura, 5'10", Minato, 5'9", Watanabe, 5'7". Sentences seen as too light. The prosecution appealed. Some sentences were increased. Miyano 20, Ogura 8, Minato same, Watanabe 5'10". Even though they seemed not enough, a debate started: rehabilitation versus punishment. The case sparked a conversation that led to future reforms, reviewing the balance, protecting young offenders, and bringing justice to victims. A debate that continues to this day. The news caused a huge shock, bringing pain, anger, and disbelief. The whole country was horrified by how cruel it was and how young the people who did it were. It wasn't just one bad person, it was a group that the community had kept secret. People reacted strongly with shame and anger. The news was everywhere. At first, they didn't say the names of the young people involved because of rules. But one magazine broke the rules and published their names and pictures. This started a big talk about what is right and wrong in reporting. The news coverage was nonstop, sometimes a bit over the top, and the case became something everyone in the country was obsessed with. They kept the case in the spotlight, but it also caused a lot of pain for the public and the family. There were protests, petitions, and demands for tougher punishments. People's opinions changed because they felt the justice system was too soft. Junko's case became a rallying cry for victims' rights. It was a tricky case for how journalists should act. The case left deep scars and made the whole country look inward. It showed a lost generation, weakening community ties, and darkness hidden behind neat appearances. A crime in a normal home shattered the idea of a safe haven. It raised questions about who is responsible in a family and how families are structured. People called for changes to the juvenile law, pushing for tougher punishments. In 2000, the age for being tried as an adult was lowered from 16 to 14, and penalties became stricter. It showed that just doing well in school isn't enough. Good behavior and emotional health are super important too. Stopping bullying and violence became a really urgent issue. It also showed how the Yakuza, a Japanese crime group, was influencing unhappy young people. They started looking into how teenagers were being recruited and taken advantage of. There was more pressure on the police to crack down on organized crime and street gangs. A strong and varied response was absolutely necessary. Painful lessons about prevention and community responsibility, missed chances, scared parents, and dozens of quiet young people. The danger of the bystander effect, responsibility gets lost. It takes real courage to speak up. The report being taken back shows we need better rules. We need to spot signs of being forced and keep going, even when information is confusing. Good prevention means good talking and trust between families, communities, and leaders. Teach empathy, consent, and respect early on. Violence grows when people stop seeing others as human. We must stop it at its start. Classrooms and homes are the first places to prevent problems. Safety is for everyone. Watching out, caring for each other, and reporting without fear. Our silence can have a deadly price. Let's look past the sensational stuff and the legal talk. Let's remember the person at the center, a beloved young woman with a bright future. Her memory isn't honored by being overly curious, but by learning and stopping bad things from happening, turning pain and anger into helpful actions, balancing helping people get better with punishments that fit the crime. Agencies that are careful, understanding, and quick when faced with fear and force. Responsible media that respects the dignity of victims. Stronger and more caring communities. The most important legacy, preventing bad things. Changing from just watching to stepping in. A call to everyone. Teach and show empathy, respect, and courage. Every act of support builds safety and humanity. May it never happen again. Thank you for watching Mystery Chronicles. Please like, comment, and subscribe.